Okay.
So, okay, welcome everyone. This is Isabel, your local nutritionist speaking. And today I am going to just talk a little bit about gut health. Sorry that you can't see me, but we've got a couple of technical issues. And yeah, I'm doing this from my phone, and Lindy is going to handle the slides. So, this week specifically, um, we've had so many queries about gut health. And even this morning, I spoke to two customers that have severe IBS issues. Lindy, just put us on full screen again. Um, and I just wanted to say that a gut health issue doesn't develop immediately, it develops over time. And it's got two sources. So let's go to the next slide. So, so why is gut health so important? If you can just mute everybody. Hi, Nicole. Nice to see you joining as well. So, why is gut health so important? First of all, this is where all our food and our nutrients are being broken down and being absorbed, which gives us energy for each and every little cell in our bodies, of which there are billions. So without a really good gut, your entire body is affected. Besides that, it's not getting the nutrients and the vitamins and the minerals that it needs. The gut is also a place where many of our hormones are being manufactured. For instance, our serotonin, our happy hormone. Ngobo, just mute yourself there. Our happy hormone, serotonin, 70% of our serotonin is being produced in our gut. And 70% of our immune cells sit in the lining of our gut. So the whole body's immune system is residing basically in your gut. So if you are not looking after your tummy and your entire digestive system, that relates to your entire body. Never mind how many medications you take. Nothing is going to really work if you don't address the origin. And unfortunately, that's what happens. So let me tell you um, why it's so important when um, uh, we have a healthy gut. We've got better moods, and the reason for that
Recording in
is
progress.
I think Lindy, just we've got hormone balance. We've got better inflammatory reaction from the body. We've got a stronger immune system, more energy. Um, you've got better skin. Can you believe it? You've got lower risk of disease, and you have improved brain function. I really don't think that's one that we constantly talk about. But Linick, please give me the next slide. And the reason, therefore, is because our gut acts as our second brain. So when the fetus in the mommy's womb is being developed, the gut and the brain develops at the same time. And that's why there's always a relationship between our gut and our brain. And it's been scientifically proven that most people that are depressed or have a stressful situation that they're going through have a poor, unhealthy gut. And similarly, vice versa. The gut is also called the second brain because it can act independently of the brain. And that is why it's so important because it impacts our food intake, it impacts how we think, it can prevent disease, it can impact how we deal with stress and how happy we are, as well as our social interaction with people. And that is why we really need to look after our gut. So in our gut, there's a whole environment, and it looks like a garden. And there are good bacteria and bad bacteria. And the best way that I can describe it is that if you have the good bacteria are like the flowers, and the bad bacteria are like the weeds, and they need to be in balance for a healthy garden. If the bad bacteria overtakes the good bacteria, and sometimes this starts happening, you know, um, just once in a while, but when it starts happening regularly, the bad bacteria overtakes the good bacteria. And this is when we eat fatty foods, alcohol, smoking, drinking a lot, eating a lot of sweets. Then we have a reaction, and the bad bacteria overtakes the good bacteria, which means that the body then forms more acid than what it normally would be like. So the body wants a normal pH in the gut to optimally function. Um, Good bacteria makes it more alkaline. No, Lindy, please go back. Bad bacteria makes it more acidic. So when you have acid in your tummy, that's when you start getting acid reflux. But that's also the early symptoms that your tummy is not healthy, um, include bloating, cramping, um, and then that, oh my goodness, let me just, somebody is trying to phone me. Yeah, let me just put my, okay, let me, sorry about that. I've got an urgent customer phoning me here, so let me just get back to our Zoom and um, just get to the right view. Um, can you all just hear me? Okay. Um,
Yes, Isabel, we can hear you.
I'm just trying to get to my screen again. Um, just see how. Um, sorry, this call is now just thrown me out. Okay, so when we when the bad bacteria overtakes the good bacteria, we have a situation where uh, we start feeling acid in our tummy, and we have acid reflux. Those are early symptoms. But when they become chronic, your tummy, you can imagine when you've I'm sure most of the people on this call has vomited sometimes, and when you vomit, your throat is actually burning because you are vomiting some of the acid in your tummy. Now you can imagine how that acid is actually burning your tummy from inside out. And when we use um, anti-acid medications like Gaviscon, for instance, etc., we only get temporary relief because we're not actually addressing the origin of the problem. And the origin of the problem is that the bad bacteria has overtaken the good bacteria. What then happens, if this happens on a consistent basis, then the acidic nature of your gut content actually inflames your whole gut lining. And if that continues over a couple of weeks or months, then you start developing ulcers, start developing irritable bowel syndrome, which leads to periods of severe constipation or severe diarrhea. And it can actually lead to you constantly vomiting food and actually losing weight over time in its intense stage. What also happens is you can develop in its intense stage a condition called leaky gut. And that is where the wall lining of the stomach becomes so inflamed that some of the acid actually leaks through the gut wall to the surrounding organs and causes inflammation. And that is when they actually start thinking of removing some of your gut, which is obviously not something that any of us want at this stage. So, Lenny, can we have the next slide? So what Pro-B does, and probiotics is so important, is probiotics is just a normal, natural probiotics that act as a fertilizer for the good bacteria. So all that you're doing is you're putting good bacteria back into the tummy to balance out the bad bacteria that's sort of overgrown the good bacteria. Um, and what happens when you do that is that like you can see here, there's many bad bacteria that grows in your tummy. So what happens when you put the bad bacteria back, you actually, or the good bacteria back, and we've got 9 different strains of good bacteria. And what they do is they cover most of um, the beautiful part of the garden in your tummy, if you can visualize that, and they sort of fertilize most of um, the beautiful part of the garden, because it also does not help to take a probiotic that only has 1 or 2 strains, like you most of the time get in your Dis-Chems or your Clixus, or even in the pharmacy. Because if you only drink 1 or 2 strains of bacteria, then you're only fertilizing 1 or 2 types of flowers in your garden. And that, you can imagine, means that certain flowers are growing, others are not growing, and that causes even more imbalance. So our 9 strain bacteria has been found to work very effectively because it works synergistically together. What it also does is we've added a prebiotic. So a prebiotic is a food for the probiotics. And that means that they can be activated immediately when you're actually drinking them. That is also why we've added it in a fluid and not in a capsule or a tablet. So when you put Pro-B drops on your tongue, you immediately remember, even in your mouth, you've got good and bad bacteria. And we call it a microbiome. It's an environment where there's positive and negative bacteria. And as your Pro-B drops goes down your throat, it automatically start rebalancing the bacteria in there, as well as your gut and then through your digestive system. This is very important to keep your digestive system in balance, not just because of it affecting your immune system, your hormone system, and obviously your gut system. But if you have a leaky gut, you can have your gut removed. And also, there is evidence that at least 40% of people are struggling with gut issues at the moment, between 30 and 40% in South Africa. It also has to do and can lead to colon cancer, and especially anal cancer, which is the number 4 and the number 5 cancer prevalent in South Africa at the moment. And this is all due to poor gut health. So our 9-strain probiotic is also included in a new base. We've taken the omega-3 oil base away, and we have changed that to a glycerin base. So glycerin has a natural sweetness to it, like stevia. It's sugar-free and it tastes nice. Can I please have the next slide, Lindy? So why Sportron Pro-B? Obviously because it has a 9-strain, also because it gives you a high dose of probiotics. And here I need to stress, you cannot overdose on probiotics. It's like B vitamins. Your body absorbs what it needs, and the rest is being utilized somewhere else or ends up in urine. Um, it has even been proven that um, it is the best thing to give little babies probiotics, especially when they're struggling with WINS, etc. And even if they are lactose intolerant, it also helps with allergies. Um, like I said, ours is sugar free, and our new probiotics ranking that's coming out at the end of this month will also have a pipette in it. So you can actually draw up a 2 ml or a 1 ml or whatever. If you have a patient or a consultant that has severe IBS or is struggling with gut problems, the best thing to give her is Pro-B. So I normally start with half a teaspoon in the morning and half a teaspoon in the evening. It is also very good to add omega tone, especially if this person has been suffering from IBS for a long time. I had a client this morning, and she's been suffering with IBS for the last 13 years. And I said, but you don't just need to rebalance your bacteria, you also need to repair your gut wall. And that is what the omega tone does. Omega tone is anti inflammatory, and it repairs the gut wall because she's at the stage where she's developing a leaky gut. So you take the two, half a teaspoon of probiotics in the morning together with a teaspoon of omega and a teaspoon of omega in the evening and a half a teaspoon of probiotics. And those two together over a period of at least 2 or 3 weeks should be able to give you some relief. Normally it's in a couple of days, but depending on the condition of your gut, I always say it usually takes 2 or 3 weeks to balance. And once your gut is balanced, you can scale down on the probiotics and then take them as you need them. And Lindy, the next slide. So first of all, definitely it is very important from a digestive point of view, and we've already discussed the situation that it can lead to IBS, a leaky gut syndrome, and even colon cancer or anal cancer at the moment. The next slide, please. Obviously, it's very important from an immune health point of view because you are looking after your 70% of immune cells that are in your gut. And even myself, as a nutritionist that do eat healthy, I drink probiotics every day so that my immune system is as optimal as it can be, especially because we come into contact with a lot of people and are exposed to a lot of bacteria and viruses in the process. I also want to just reiterate how important it is that it plays such an important role from an immune point of view. Studies have been done that babies that have been born through a cesarean and not gone through normal childbirth has actually um, have a 40% compromised immune system because they haven't been coated in the mummy's fluids, and all those fluids of hers has got the bacteria and the positive bacteria around it, and they've got a stronger immune system because of it. And what they are doing these days, that if they do a cesarean, they actually take some of the mummy's fluids from her mouth, and they actually squeeze that into the baby's mouth the moment that the baby starts screaming, even before starting to drink, so that the baby can actually develop that healthy immune system. The next slide. And then obviously, as I've mentioned, there's this gut health and brain health and emotional health connotation. Besides the happy hormones and some of the other hormones that's being produced in our tummies, it definitely affects your cognitive function if your gut is not optimally functioning. So you have a foggy brain, you have um, problems concentrating, and this is not due to age or stress or anything else, but obviously due to an unhealthy tummy. Stress obviously makes unhealthy tummy worse, and that is why Pro B and Omega Tone is so important. So when you're stressed, it is important to take a product that actually lowers your stress or enables you to go better with stress, like Mental Calm or Stress Guard. Both of these products have ashwagandha in, and ashwagandha is an Indian root that has been proven scientifically to lower cortisol levels in your blood, because when you're chronically stressed and you go through a chronic um, stressor environment, say you have just had somebody that close to you that you've lost to death, or you have a divorce that you're going through. These are stresses that aren't going away immediately. And obviously, your adrenaline and your cortisol levels rise to give you better, sharper focus and reaction time. But your cortisol levels don't uh, decline after a while, especially with chronic stress. And the only way to decline them is by having some ashwagandha, which has been proven to be the best natural route and cause. So, what cortisol does, it also puts your entire body in an inflammatory state, and it actually attacks your tummy. The next slide. So, obviously, brain health, I've just explained how important that is. And the next slide. So there has been several studies done that if you are suffering from allergies, especially when you're a child, that if you give them probiotics, it strengthens the immune cells in the tummy, and they can actually better fight the allergic reaction that is taking place in the body. So if somebody is on a asthma pump or has emphysema or is really struggling with heavy allergies, Pro B is also one to add to that list. The next slide, please. So these are 40 benefits that you get from having probiotics. This slide will be a slideshow will be shared with you afterwards, and I suggest that you go through it as it has multiple benefits for any normal person. So, where 5 or 6 years ago we only thought that probiotics is something that you drink when you're on antibiotics, that is not true. I drink my UltraGuard, my Probi, my Omega, and my Atron every day. Um, and that keeps me balanced and healthy and gives me optimal energy. The next slide, please. Yes, and these are just some of our social media that you can use. And then we come to the price on the next slide. So if you look at our price, which is only $2.99 for 30 ml, that is actually an exceptionally economical price per dosage if you compare it to the Reuterinas, that is sort of has the biggest market share um, in the formal retail market. So our Pro B is amongst the best and gives you the best value per dose. And obviously, you've seen how it can really, really make a difference. Um, what it also does, it is best to use this with an alkaline diet. And you can Google on any platform an alkaline diet and acidic foods. There are so many to choose from, and that gives you a list of that you can pass on to your customers of what to not to use and what to focus on. So things that give you acid is obviously sugar, fatty stuff, smoking, alcohol, things that give you an alkaline base is obviously veggies and fruit, a protein, and some of those food items. The next slide, I think we're nearly done. And there we are, done for the evening, all in half an hour. So when you have somebody with a digestive system problem, please press in a little bit more. Ask what are these symptoms? How long have they had the symptoms? Because if it's been longer for 6 months, you know that it's not just a stress situation or uh, a once-off little bottle that's going to do the difference. Remember, this is something that happened over time, and you need to address the origin of uh, the poor digestive health condition over time. So obviously Pro-B is the first thing to suggest, together with Amigatone, especially if it's been a condition that you face for longer than 8 months or 6 to 8 months, and then definitely combine it with an alkaline diet. I also say to those of our customers who's come back to me after 2 or 3 weeks or even 2 or 3 months, if they've been in a severe condition, that they can't believe it, that they've actually overcome this, where they've been struggling with this for like 10 or 15 years. I had a customer a week ago, and she stays on the East Coast here in South Africa, and she was struggling so intensely that she started vomiting, and she lost 20 kilograms. She went to a gastrologist. He's put her on intense anti-acidic medication, Schedule 4 medication that had a lot of side effects, and she was seeing a dietitian that put her on a very, very strict diet, and she just marginally improved. When we spoke in December, and I gave her the information that I've just given you, she actually took a probiotics 3 times a day. So she bought 2 bottles, and the Amigatone in the morning and in the evening. And she phoned me after 3 weeks, and she said she can actually feel the difference. She's felt better than she has in the last 10 years. She gave me a tinkle about 2 weeks ago, and she said she's actually picked up 2 kilograms. And I also said to her, if you want to, especially over the December holidays, cheat a little bit, because uh, you cannot follow a strict diet all the time. Then just take a half a teaspoon of probiotics before you go to a braai where you know you're going to eat something fatty or something that's not going to be um, going to cause some acid for you, and you come back home and you consume a half a teaspoon afterwards. And she said she even passed through the festive season uh, okay, and she overcame it. And since this month, she's on 1 bottle of Pro-B, and she continues to drink her Amigatone because she's in her fabulous 40s, when Amigatone is an important supplement for all of us. It doesn't help giving somebody a multivitamin or an immune booster when their gut health isn't sorted out, because then most of that just goes to expensive urine. And those products you normally add after a month or 2 when the patient is stable. And that is it from me. Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Any questions?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Thank you so much.
It's fine. Thanks. You're welcome. Thanks. Yeah.
Let me see. Any questions? I think that sort of sums it up. Thank you, everybody, for listening in, and see you next week on Tuesday, when we are going to discuss something new, and how you can better help your customers and make more sales. Thank you, everyone. All the very best. If you need some specialist information, please WhatsApp me directly. Thank you. Goodbye.